Introducing YouTube memberships, a fun way to support the channel while getting some exclusive perks. Click the join button to become a member now and get benefits like badges next to your name on videos, behind-the-scenes photos, advantages during the live trivia game, discounts on merchandise, private one-on-one video chats, the ability to request future video topics, and exclusive 8 to 10 minute videos on the history of the NFL. And now, on with our feature presentation. December 28th, 2023. It's week 17 of the NFL season, and we've got a Thursday Night Football battle on our hands between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets over in Cleveland. For the Browns, they can make the playoffs for the second time in the last 2 decades with a win. And the Jets, the main team in our story, well, they've got nothing to play for. They've clinched a losing record. They're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. They're down to their 4th starting quarterback of the season in Trevor Siemian. And they're slumping big time, having lost 6 of their last 8 games, with an offense that has scored 13 or less in 6 of those 8 games in that stretch. The Jets are a bad football team, no two ways about it. And at this point, they're just looking to finish their season on some sort of positive note, since this season has gone completely off the rails. Having said that, this game is not going well for the Jets. The Browns have moved the ball down the field with ease throughout most of the game, never trailing at any point throughout the contest, and they lead at 34-17 at this point in the game in the 4th quarter. With the Jets down by 3 possessions, it is abundantly clear that time is running out for them to have any chance of winning, so they've got to score, and they've got to score quickly. With the Jets facing 3rd and 6, after Trevor Siemian fires an incomplete pass to Garrett Wilson at the 39-yard line, the Jets have 2 options here. Option 1, try and go for it on a 4th down, trying to pick up 6 yards in this 4th and medium situation so they can extend their drive, possibly get a touchdown, and cut it to a 2-score game. Or option 2, try the long field goal for Greg Zuerlein from 56 yards out, seeing as that is right in his wheelhouse. So you've got 2 options here to try and make this a 2-score game. With all that in mind, let's see what the Jets do here.
Clock at 0. Did they get it away?
Game offense.
They did not.
That's a 5-yard penalty.
They take the delay of game. Coach Saleh, did you not see the clock running down? Did you not see the clock at 000? Why didn't you take the timeout? Why didn't you call a play? Now you're out of field goal range. Now it's pretty far. The field goal is out of the picture. Gotta go for it on a 4th and long instead of 4th and medium. All because you were too blind to look at the clock. So stupid, so freaking stupid. Alright, 4th and 11 is worse than 4th and 6, but you're in plus territory, and you've got to go for it. You have no choice. It's the 4th quarter, you probably won't have time for 3 more quality possessions, you put yourself in this garbage hole. But you've got to go for it. Let's see what you can possibly do, and they're punting the football. I give up, just play the clip, I give up, I can't do this anymore. Just play the clip.
Crochet back for the Browns, calls for the fair catch, makes it at the 9-yard line.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh. I cannot believe this man is actually safe. I genuinely cannot believe this man is actually safe. I mean, I get why, seeing as this was a lost year due to complete incompetence on the part of Joe Douglas, not having a backup plan on a 40-year-old quarterback, and the possibility that maybe, just maybe, things could go awry. But I think it's safe to say, regardless, that Saleh's tenure as the Jets head coach was, shall we say, not great. Not great at all. This is now another instance of him being on dumb decisions this season after he bungled the clock during the Sunday Night Football game against the Las Vegas Raiders, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now, there was this, where he mismanaged the clock and surrendered on a drive in plus territory, down by 3 scores, for no reason whatsoever. So with that being said, let's take a look at why taking a delay of game penalty and then punting down by 3 scores in plus territory in the fourth quarter is a really bad idea. The goal of this drive is to cut it down to a 2-score game, because let's be honest, time is running out. You're not going to have a whole lot of quality possessions left to move the ball down the field, especially when Trevor Siemian, a check down merchant, is your quarterback, meaning that you're not going to get chunk plays. So you've got to score on this drive, or else the game might be over, seeing as you probably won't have 3 quality possessions, and your defense, while they absolutely could get stops and prevent the Browns from scoring, has no margin for error whatsoever. Yes, you can win the field position battle by punting the ball, but your goal is to score points, and you have an opportunity to do so here. And this decision is twofold, because number one, you took the delay of game to back up 5 yards when you could have taken a timeout or just sent the field goal unit out there. Don't trust your quarterbacks against 6 yards? You know you could have kicked the field goal there, right? You know you could have Greg Zuerlein try a kick from 56 yards out. Don't tell me he can't hit that kick when last week, in way worse weather, on a way worse field at MetLife Stadium, he hit the game winner from just about the same distance out, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. This was within his wheelhouse, so you either go for it on 4th and medium to potentially cut it to a 2-score game, or you kick the long field goal to cut it to a 2-score game. But you know what you don't do? You don't pick the option that, no matter what, in the best case scenario, keeps it at a 3-score game. If you punt this ball away, sure, you might win the field position battle, but by punting it, the Browns are getting it back with 13:30 left, meaning that, unless your defense forces a turnover, you're getting the ball back with a 3-and-out with 11:30 left, and probably somewhere around your own 40 or 35-yard line, down by 3 scores. The best case scenario if you punt this ball is you gain about 30 yards of field position, while the best case scenario if you go for it or kick the field goal, all reasonable options, is that you cut it to a 2-score game. The worst case scenario if you punt the ball is that it's a touchback and you gain about 20 yards of field position compared to the field goal or the conversion. I will give you that, but come on, is that minuscule difference of 20 yards really worth the possibility of cutting it to a 2-score game when time was running out, especially when you had multiple timeouts in your back pocket? Kick the field goal from 56. Go for it on 4th and medium and trust your offense to get 6 yards. And if it doesn't work out, that's the ball game. But you have to make it 2 scores here, or else that's the ball game. You're giving them the ball game. Anytime you have options, and the options are incredibly realistic, I might add, so it's not like we're talking about a 70-yard field goal or 4th and 30, to make it a 2-score game, and you're down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter, you do not pass that up. You just don't, especially to punt the freaking football away. It's almost like the Bengals-Steelers game from last week all over again, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. I just don't get how you can be down by 17 points late in the game, have the ball in plus territory, have it in a 4th and medium situation in field goal range, where even if it fails, the Browns have to drive about 35 yards to get more points, since their kicker, Riley Patterson, has the weakest leg in football and was cut by the Lions for a reason. So the Browns have to get to your 30 to even attempt a field goal, and you decide, you know what? We're not going to try to score on this drive. We're giving it right back to you. Here you go. It doesn't add up. Because let's think of the logic here, even more than we already have. You don't trust your offense to pick up 6 yards. That's what you're saying by not going for it here and not trying the field goal. You don't trust your offense to get 6 yards, which, okay, by itself, I understand. You're not exactly setting the world on fire, and getting 6 yards against this defense is no guarantee by any means. But here's what I don't get. You don't trust your offense to pick up 6 yards, but you do trust them to somehow score 3 times in 11 minutes, having to likely drive upwards of 60 and 70 yards each time? What is the rationale in that? That's like saying I don't trust my student to memorize this one particular section of the choral arrangement, but I trust my student to memorize 3 other songs that we're doing for the concert. It doesn't add up. And that is especially true because by giving it back to the Browns down by 3 scores, you figure that each Cleveland drive, they'll run the ball. So each Cleveland drive will take a minimum of 2 minutes off the clock. So multiply 2 by 3 possessions that you need, and that's 6 minutes that Cleveland will have the ball. And that's assuming that your defense allows no first downs, which is obviously a tall order. But even assuming that, even assuming your defense plays lights out, subtract the 6 minutes from the 13 minutes on the clock, and you've got, assuming you play picture-perfect defense, 7 minutes to score 3 times. With 2 of those times needing to be touchdowns, you have to drive the length of the field most of those times, and Trevor Siemian can't throw more than 5 yards down the field. You like those odds? You like those odds better than a field goal in Zuerlein's wheelhouse? Or picking up 6 yards on one play and needing to only stop Cleveland 2 more times instead of 3? Get freaking real for 1 minute! Come on! You need to move the ball and score touchdowns either way. So which gives you the better chance to do it? Being midway through the first possession when you're already in field goal range, or being at the beginning of the first possession when you're not starting in good field position and you have 2 fewer minutes on the clock to work with? By punting the ball, you give yourself less time to work with, fewer chances to score, and you did all of that when you didn't have to. Because again, if you didn't trust your offense to get 6 yards, you could have just had your kicker try a 56-yard field goal when he's hit from that range many times before and has comfortably gone from over 60 in the past. They call him Greg the Leg for a reason. It's baffling, I tell you. Completely baffling. As if this couldn't get crazy enough. The crazy part about this is that I have no idea why Coach Saleh did this. None at all. Because after the game, not one reporter asked him what he was thinking with that in-game management, which is nuts, because that was the game right there. That was the moment the Jets' chances were done and dusted when they threw in the towel and waved the white flag like that, knowing they're probably not getting 3 more quality possessions after this. Why did no one ask about that sequence? Seriously, no one thought to ask, hey coach, you were in field goal range, you were 4th and medium, you needed to score, and you took the delay despite having timeouts, and then you punted. Why? No one actually bothered to pay attention and ask about that entire sequence? We've seen that quite a few times this season on dumb decisions, where a coach doesn't just make a dumb decision, but makes a decision that costs his team the game potentially, and we just gloss over it as though nothing happened. I'm really disappointed with the Jets media, because that's twice now that this has happened this season. Just really disappointing to see people afraid to ask the tough questions, or just completely oblivious to the fact. How no one asked this, I have no clue, because this decision truly made no sense. So what do we learn from all of this? If you're down by 3 scores and need to cut it to a 2-score game, then cut it to a 2-score game! Field position doesn't mean anything if time is running out and you need points. Field position, by itself, doesn't get you points. Field position, by itself, doesn't turn the clock in your favor magically. You need points. You need points. And if you have a chance at points, especially if it's a realistic chance late in the game, you take them. If you're not going to have enough time to get quality possessions, then you need to factor that in and not, waste possessions. And if you can't figure out how much time or how many possessions are left in the game, and you can't figure out the odds like that, then you need to think about another career besides being a head coach, because this profession clearly isn't for you. Robert Saleh is only getting worse as the years go on. This is bad. Because when all of these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.